on the air tonight, and we begin with exclusive breaking news. On the run for 40 years, and tonight a potential serial killer captured in northern Arizona.
His alleged crimes targeting vulnerable women in at least 2 western states, including ours. The murder cases turned cold until this past summer. That's when authorities stormed a home up on the rim and unraveled what appears to be horrible acts. Acts now linked to a man who, for years, lived quietly in the Arizona high country. ABC 15's Nicole Valdez has been sorting this out for several weeks now. Nicole?
Katie, Steve, this is Charles Gary Sullivan. Now, he's gone by a couple different versions of that name for several years. Charlie, Gary, you name it. But tonight, he's behind bars, accused of killing at least one woman, and now the suspect of multiple homicide investigations. Now, we tracked him down to a remote Arizona home on the Mogollon Rim.
It's very calm, very quiet, and the river's flowing peacefully down here.
It's picturesque.
It's away from the hustle and bustle.
You can only get there through dirt roads. This little red house hasn't looked the same for months.
The mind can really go wild. You're imagining all kinds of things.
At least not for Layla Duncan.
Before I know it, I rolled down my window to see what is going on here. And all of a sudden I hear one of the law enforcement agent yelling at me, "Get inside the house right now."
Hey, can you get back in the house, please? FBI agents, U.S. Marshals, and several different sheriff departments from both Arizona and Nevada.
They just jumped out with their guns drawn, big guns drawn, and just ran towards the house next door and start pounding and hammering. So I'm running into the house, and he said, "Stay away from the windows."
It's where 73-year-old Charles Gary Sullivan lived on and off, according to Duncan. The person she saw more often, though, his wife.
She was very nice.
But what Duncan didn't know was why this was happening.
I was very surprised. This must be a big crime that happened. You have so many different agencies that I didn't even know existed.
Until the next day. Duncan says Mrs. Sullivan called and invited her over to explain.
And she said that they're accusing her husband of committing a crime 40 years ago.
March of 1979. Investigators with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office in Reno found a body in a shallow grave. It was 20-year-old Julia Woodward. Her body found in Hungry Valley, about 15 miles north of Reno. Investigators say her eyes were sealed shut with bandaids. They found zip ties on her legs, a cloth used as a gag, and rocks covered in hair and blood. She was only wearing one shoe.
Into the death of Julia Woodward.
40 years later, prosecutors in Washoe County, Nevada, filing this grand jury indictment. Charles Gary Sullivan, in or about 1979, did willfully, feloniously, and with premeditation, kill Julia Woodward by striking her with a rock. Duncan, though, says if you ask his wife...
She loves her husband. He said she's convinced and told me that he would never do such a thing. And she's going to defend her husband.
But she's not so sure. And if anything, worried Woodward may not be the only victim. Among dozens of investigators, cadaver dogs searched the entire high country block. Duncan confronted detectives.
I asked him, why are there cadaver dogs here? And he said, I can't tell you because we're investigating and we cannot say anything. But the only thing I can tell you, our agency uses these dogs when we're looking for dead bodies.
Crime Lab sources tell ABC 15 investigators from the Arizona Department of Public Safety were given Sullivan's DNA for testing.
Seeing birds fly around, like, I said, oh my gosh, are they looking for body pieces?
Sullivan could be connected to other murders in Arizona, but how many?
This was a very big crime, a huge crime, and we still don't know, and I would like to know.
This could be the man who got away for 40 years until now.
Now, Sullivan just booked into Washoe County a few hours ago. For Julia Woodward's family, this means it's the beginning of the end of their tragedy. As for loved ones of unknown numbers of Arizona women, their cold cases may be getting blue knife now. Now, Sullivan's wife and his family, though, may be learning a lot more about the man they thought they knew. Katie, Steve.
Thank you, Nicole.